Hi guys. So I attempted to make this video last night, and after I watched it, I just didn't really like the video. I'm not really sure why I didn't like the video. I probably won't like this video, and I'm gonna want to remake it and then post it. I don't know. It's really all over the place, which is why, one, I want to make the video and share everything with you guys, because that's kind of where my head has been. I haven't really felt inspired to do anything. I haven't felt creative for makeup at all. I can't think of anything that I really want to try, really want to do. You know, the last one I did was the Allure unboxings, and I don't know. I just haven't felt like I've been in a good place the last week or two. Even when I did that unboxing, I just didn't feel overly excited about everything. I felt recently I've been feeling really troubled. And like I said, there's a lot of things going on in my head and I can't seem to get out of it. I usually know how to kind of fix myself, how to get back to a good place. But lately, I just can't get there. I've tried reading. I usually do little crosswords or word search puzzles just to kind of get my mind back to start. I've done pretty much everything I know to do. I've been working in journals, writing, talking with friends and family, but it's like I can't pinpoint what's exactly bothering me, so I really don't even know how to fix it. I think sometimes people who suffer with a mental illness, they kind of get lost inside their own thoughts. Sometimes it's also we create. Sometimes it's just an accumulation of all things that are going on around us. I think my mind has been in such a high lately that I can't figure out how to come down from it, because it's just one thing after another stacking up. So I think that's kind of where I have fallen. One of the biggest things in my life I always push is self-care. It's huge to me. It's number one to me. I went through most of my life not caring for myself. I actually had to learn how to care for myself in the proper way. There are tons of ways that you can care for yourself, and so I always try to practice that. I am okay saying no when I know my plate is full. I try not to wear myself out. Once I'm in school, you know, I'm working full time, I don't take a lot of things on. I no longer feel guilty for that. And I'm okay with that. You know, I don't have a social life when I'm in school, unless it's like texting. That's pretty much it. I usually text a lot. I don't hang out a lot, just simply because I don't have the free time. And the little bit of free time I get, I try to save that energy to spend with Henry, my husband, and our little animal family, or just to put in reserve, because I know eventually I'm going to need that energy for something else. I have a demanding job. I've worked in the veterinary field for over 20 years now. It's demanding. It's always been demanding. It's the medical field. It's just with animals. Anybody that works in the medical field pretty much knows that you make a deal with the devil. There is no time. And sure, you may work like a 7 to 6 shift, but you don't really work a 7 to 6 shift. You typically work over. You work more days than you're scheduled for. And in between that, I'm a supervisor, so I pretty much say that I'm always on call. There are some days where I just can't really take on the extra days, time it takes to deal with that part of my job. So I do rely on the other supervisors at work and my practice managers to kind of deal with that when I'm not there. And then there are some days where I'm good. I don't feel like it's taking too much of my energy and my time, and I can give that extra time of myself. But lately, you know, went to VMX down in Orlando and came home and just kind of hit the ground running. I was hitting the ground running before, getting ready for classes and everything, and they kept canceling my night class, and so now I'm having to take it online. I hate math. I am not good at it. I will not be good at it. I don't pretend to be good at it. I don't want to be good at it. I want it to go away. I study psychology. I need statistics. I don't want algebra. I don't plan on using y equals mx plus b ever again in my entire life. So I don't want anything to do with it. Okay. Nothing to do with letters, numbers together. I just could cut that out of my whole life. Okay. So now I'm taking it with a teacher that I'm not familiar with. I'm doing it online. I like in-class contact. I do not like online classes. You have to be super disciplined, and they are harder to me than they are than being in the classroom. It's kind of like when you go to the gym. I do better with going to the gym than an in-home gym because I'm just not motivated. You have to really, really motivate yourself to do things. So recently I think that I had forgotten to make sure that my pot stays full, because you can't pour from an empty pot. And you know, one of my coworkers yesterday was having a rough day, and it just reminded me that taking care of yourself is crucial to your well-being, because how do you take care of other people if you can't take care of yourself? How do you give any part of yourself if you are empty? You can't even pour from a reserve tank if you are empty. So, I mean, if you snap, I think you have to know like where your 100% is. Like, stop giving more than 100% on every single thing that you do. Because if you snap, your 100% was probably a while back. And I think I often forget that as I get so stressed out and so overwhelmed and worked up. And I'm like, you know what? A lot of the things that I take on, that I worry about, are really not my problem. They're not mine to carry. They're not mine to figure out. And I gotten really good about telling people, you know what? That's your problem. You need to figure it out. You need to work it out. And then you let me know. I think a lot of what we carry, it's not ours to carry. And I don't think there's any shame in telling someone, you know, that I can't carry that. It's not mine. You need to handle it. And I think people think that's rude. They think it's mean, insensitive. But in fact, it's just self-care. It's self-love. I have enough self-respect and love for myself that it does not bother me to say that to people. And I think we need to be better about loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves without being ashamed of it. You know, I watched the Jaclyn Hill video lately, and she brings up depression, and it's not a term that she ever uses just like a slang term. She's not sad. Sad is completely different than depressed. Depressed is a clinical term that comes with a lot of responsibility. I wish some days that I just felt sad. I wish some days that I didn't wake up and I wasn't just down. I wasn't not myself, you know. But there are days, especially lately, where I wake up and I'm silent for no reason. I just don't have anything to say. I have no words. And it's like, what happened overnight? What in my brain just didn't connect through the night? And that's something that is just one thing with mental illness, that it just happens. Some days you go to bed and you're laughing and you're smiling, and you wake up the next morning and you can't even get out of bed. Which is why, again, that self-care is just so, so important. She speaks often in a lot of her videos about anxiety and whatnot. And I think that a platform as big as hers, it's a great platform to talk about self-care and self-love, because it reaches so many people. So many of her viewers share the anxiety and depression that she shares. A lot of people judge her for using those terms, but I find that it's very disheartening, for me to hear someone being judged for that when they suffer with those issues. Because it's already hard enough to accept them, to accept that you're sick, that you have this invisible illness that other people can't see, that you have to take medicine for if you are on medication for it, that you see someone for to talk about it with. I think therapy is crucial in keeping your foundation stable and strong. And then to admit it to others, to be able to say, hey, I'm not feeling like myself today. Can you just keep an eye on me because you're not sure where your thoughts are going to go? It takes bravery, someone very brave, a lot of courage to come out and say that to people, to be honest and open about that. I've had numerous times where my friends have saved me from doing things that my thoughts pretty much told me that was the only way out. The thing about suicide is it's not the answer, but it's perceived as a solution to all the things that your brain is telling you is hurting you. It stops the pain. It stops other things as well. It stops your life. It stops other people's lives around you. I do not judge people for suicide. It breaks my heart when I hear someone has lost their life to suicide. And often people miss the signs. It's very easy to miss the signs until you go back and you look, and you notice that those signs are all there because they're subtle, and then they add up and it almost hits you in the face and you're like, how did I not see these? And then you blame yourself, which I don't think there's any reason to blame yourself. Suicide in the veterinary field is the highest rate, 1 in 4. I looked around one of our classes at VMX, and 1 in 4 was huge. Most of the people in that class would have committed suicide. And that's just in the veterinary field. We've had technicians, not at my hospital thankfully, but in the veterinary industry come to work, and one bad case can lead them to just that icing on the cake, and that is what leads them to take their life. So my point is ask for help. If you can't seem to get your pot back to where it needs to be, don't be ashamed to ask for help. There are so many resources out there where they can help you. Get your foundation, set your foundation with people around you who truly care about you, who want to know you're okay. And remember, when they ask you for, like, when someone's sitting there and they're talking to you about all the reasons why they need to die, ask them for the reasons why they need to live. Don't give them reasons, but ask them to list the reasons why they should live, because that's what saves me. My friends, my family, my husband, those are reasons why I want to live. When someone tells me why I should live, it actually hurt me more than it did help me, because it made me start feeling guilty. It made me feel like I was ashamed. I should be ashamed of myself. This is how the brain takes in that information. How guilty I should feel for putting them through what I was going to do. And that can be taken into consideration should a person move forward with that decision. So it's a very hard subject for me to discuss. And I know some people don't agree with that view, and that's okay, because everyone is allowed to view it however they want to. But taking care of yourself, bottom line, it's important. It's so, so important. Because no matter what, at the end of the day, no matter what you feel like you didn't accomplish, no matter what you didn't do, couldn't get to, you're still enough. You've been enough. You'll always be enough. And no one can be you. That will always be your superpower, is that no one is you. And we need a lot more people like that. More people that are uplifting like that in this world. Because so many people try to fit into what we think that we should be. And I think that that's what paints this picture of perfection that none of us can live up to. That's the problem, though. It's just a painting, and paintings aren't real. So that's just some of the things that are on my mind. It's just taking care of yourself. I've seen so many people in my life lately that have just been so sad, and me included. I just can't seem to find that joy and that happy place that I once was in. And it's okay to have sad days and that turn into weeks, but I think it's important to notice them and to try to get out of them, to work your way out of them. I think that's one thing people don't realize too, is that mental illness is work. It's a lot of work. Staying above the water is a lot of work. It's a daily job to rise above what you are. Raise the bar with yourself, and set goals for yourself every day. Smile 10 times. It doesn't seem like a lot, but I would tell you, when you're already at this predisposition where you feel overwhelmed and someone gives you a couple tasks to do and they just look like that's it. They just want to go home and sleep, or they want to give up. I've had a list in my head all day long to get done. And then my husband can ask me to do one simple thing. He can ask me to put the dishes away. Does it take long? No. Does it take a lot of effort? No. Does it take a lot of brain power? No. It's easy. But it's one more thing on my list. It's one more thing for me to do, one more thing to have to remember, and that can sometimes just send me over the edge. And he gets upset because he's like, what's the matter? Pretty much explain it to him. And I'm like, well, I've already had this list in my head that I already have to do, and I'm frustrated, I'm irritated, so I'm not talking in a calm manner because I'm already overwhelmed and I'm having this anxiety. And he's like, okay. But does he know about the list in my head? No, he doesn't know, because do I write it on the wall? Do I write it on a sheet of paper? No, it's just things in my head that I know I have to get done today. Some things are already on there that he's asking me to do, and that irritates me. And it's like, why? Why does it irritate me for him to ask me a question? And it's because it's just one more thing in my head, one more thing to listen to and have to remember and say, I know I'm not stupid. I know I can do these things. He's not talking to me like I'm stupid, but that's how I take it in, because I'm already just irritated and overwhelmed, and it's like, stop putting more things in my head. So it's pretty common, for people who are already down, when you give them these couple things to do that just are really no big deal, they kind of just go kind of off sometimes, or they just shut down. And I go through spurts like that where I just shut down. I can't do anything. Like, it's hard for me to do anything. And then, after a couple weeks, I'll finally snap out of it, and then I'll have this great energy and I'm ready to go. And I don't even remember why I was down, because there wasn't a reason. It's like my chemicals just didn't come together. Maybe my medicine just wasn't working real great with the chemicals. I don't know. But just something wasn't adding up inside myself, and it just had to work out the kinks, something like that. I see a therapist, I see a psychiatrist, I take medicine, I practice mindfulness, I try my best to take care of myself, I read positive thoughts, I give positivity, but sometimes it just all becomes a little too much. Work has been really a lot for me lately. There's just been some things at work that have bothered me, and sometimes I don't think people realize what their words and their reactions do to other people. As a supervisor, I kind of feel sometimes you're put under a microscope. So everything that you do or say is taken in a way that it was never meant to be. I think that's just the nature of your job. But sometimes it can just become a little too much. And I think sometimes they forget you're a human too. You make mistakes. And I feel like sometimes I get held to like a stake sometimes. And it's like, it's a little frustrating, I think, because I'm not perfect. I would never be perfect. I'm not ever going to try to be perfect. But people need to realize that everyone's human. They make mistakes. And to be forgiving for that stuff, and maybe realize, like maybe you're overwhelmed too. Sometimes I think the strongest person is often one that's forgotten about, because they're like, oh, she's a strong person, she'll get through this on her own. But you need to check in on those people too, because those people also need a little uplifting sometimes. Those are the people constantly emptying out their pots to fill other people's pots. And like me, they kind of forget to fill their own every once in a while. So check in on those people. Make sure they're okay. Take care of yourself. And if you ever feel like you need help and you don't feel like you can reach out to those around you, there's a suicide prevention hotline. Always, always there. I think I'll end this video here. I'm still just kind of in this, I don't know. I feel very blank. I don't feel sad. I just feel very blank, and I don't know. It'll work itself out. Gonna get some ideas together for some makeup videos. I was able to get some of the Jeffree Star makeup boxes, so I am pretty happy about that, thanks to some friends. So I'm gonna unbox those as soon as they get here. I've tried not to look at any of the unboxings that people have already done, because some people have already gotten a couple of the boxes. So I'm gonna do that. BoxyCharm is coming up. I have seen some sneak peeks for March. The premium is supposed to be loaded with Fenty products. I've always wanted to try Fenty, but I've not ever gotten any of her products from Fenty by Rihanna, but I want to. So those will be very exciting. I do want to do some Valentine's Day looks. I'm going to grab out a couple palettes for that and put those up. Those will probably be kind of fast videos, not long videos or anything like that, and they'll probably just be eye looks, maybe some cheek looks too. But basically, like I said, this video is just, please just take care of yourself. Just know that you're enough. You will always be enough. Even when you feel like you failed, you are enough. Don't ever let anyone take your power. You're you, and that is your superpower. Again, if you feel like you need help, a friend needs help, please call the suicide hotline. Reach out. There are so many help options out there that can help you. Don't ever feel like you're alone, because there is a huge, huge platform of us out there that can empathize, not sympathize, empathize with you, where you are, where you've been, and where you're going. We're here. Please reach out. I love when people ask for advice. I am open, honest about mental illness and the things that have, contributed to a couple of things that have bothered me throughout my life. And I'm here. So again, reach out, comment on this video if you have any thoughts, share your stories. It's all open, judgment-free zone. I will share the suicide hotline number down below too if you need it. And again, take care of yourself. You are enough. Don't forget it.